Today is absolutely a moment of rah because we're going to be having an RC Mega Dino Rex. You know, we have seen all kinds of weird stuff, but nowadays we can find almost everything in a radio controlled situation. From butlers, cars, planes, jets, helicopters, and even there is freaking like a dinosaur. And I was really intrigued seeing this because this thing is gigantic and didn't actually cost a lot. However, when it comes to these smart kind of products, we do have a lot of differences. Some of them are based on AI or with apps and everything. This is just basic, going back to the basics. Simply because we're going to be having a remote, we do have some programmable options, but you know, this thing is like massive with 47 centimeters of length. So nevertheless, we do have like two different colors. And we do have the white one you can see over there and the black one at the back of the box. I actually went for the white one. It looks so much better than this very strange blue-black color combination. Nevertheless, we're going to be doing a lot of fun and we're going to be doing a quick overview how this thing actually works and what kind of features that it beholds. Because, you know, when it comes to these devices, they promise all kinds of cool things, but in reality, they are going to come with limitations because they are budget, let's be honest. So moving wise, you know, this is going to be some of those, like say, I think, let's put it this way. I have found all kinds of different dinos, and some of them even have the option to shoot, like say, arrows from their mouth. Like the most weirdest freaking stuff. Nevertheless, it doesn't matter, this thing is super basic. You can actually move the hands and everything. In here we're going to be finding the manual that explains how this thing works. What is kind of cool that it comes with the, let's say, the moving part. We're going to be having the same configuration like we've seen before. The tail is super simple. They're like plastic. There's nothing in the inside. However, this wiggling is kind of cool because if you're going to be moving the dinosaur, it's going to be wiggling like a crazy thing. Okay. Moving on to the overall configuration, this is the same stuff that we have seen before with the robot. There are just implemented wheels with motors underneath the feet. So they have like this certain motion where it actually seems that he's walking, but he's actually rolling. And we're having two options with this particular model. We can just actually kind of drive with it, or we can use the motion like the Dinosaur Rex where it's actually going to be making some weird noises. However, I think it's pretty cool. So the remote will need extra batteries itself, of course, but also the dinosaur. I know there are a lot of RCs out there nowadays having a lithium battery, but these things where I find in the action, they just come with plain old alkaline batteries that you need to put in. It's very important to add like good ones. Where I know, like with maybe some of those cheaper, smaller RC cars, you can even implement, let's say, some rechargeable batteries where these are lower voltages. They still have a lot of kick to it, so it's more than enough. But with a dinosaur with so many motions and sounds, I will always recommend getting good batteries because otherwise it will be drained almost instantly and you will have like a very short time period of fun. So next up, let's take a close look at the way how this works. So there is no motors in the legs, they're just moving backwards, forward, that's it. There's nothing much going on. Everything will be controlled by the four wheels are actually underneath. And depending on what kind of action you want, they're going to be moving forward, backwards, making option to actually go forward or going to be moving around from left to right and everything else. There is this dancing option in it, would be going to be interesting. The tail needs to be clicked on here. It's like a super easy way. It's quite hard plastic, so always be careful if you're going to be doing a teardown. But the overall fact, you can see that the tail, the wiggling, it's pretty cool. So I must say that I am impressed with the overall design of this thing. And yeah, particularly if you're going to be seeing that this thing is super cheap. So turning on the device itself, let's see if it's going to be start moving. Okay, so there is no on and offs on the remote itself. What we need to do is actually turning on the RC Dino. However, the downside to this overall Dino configuration is that it's not running at 2.4 GHz, meaning that the overall communication between the remote and the Dino is going to be very limited. I have seen it before. So if you're going to be putting this thing in dancing mode, it just starts dancing. And there are actually 3 different songs that can actually be used. But let's deep dive into the functionalities. So let's do a quick overview of the Dino RC. What kind of features does it actually have and what can it do? Because they always love to overpromise stuff on the box. However, they do say it dances, so let's see if it actually dances. So we're going to be having... Alright, yeah, we're going to be having a dancing dino. If you think you've seen it all, yeah, it's going to be absolutely wicked. Song number 2, let's go, the dancing dino. Let's see what Doggy finds of the T-Rex. Let's go, Doggy. Let's go with the T-Rex. Let's dance. Come on, there we go. There you go! Dance! Dance with the robot! Come on, there we go! But let's do a quick overview of the T-Rex. And you know, when it comes to the overall product, it is something similar that I've seen in different form factors. Think about a butler, for example, like some weird things. However, this Dino does actually have some features to it. So let's do a quick overview of the remote. So the controls are quite easy. Forward, backwards, and we're going to be having left and right. But what is kind of interesting that we're going to be having two options. We're going to be having the slide mode, they call it. And this is absolutely way faster, and of course we're having the walking mode. The walking mode is quite cool. It actually makes a walking sound of a T-Rex. Only this kind of sounds more like a Velociraptor. Okay, that's a little bit of a detail. So then of course we have the dancing mode, 3 different songs if I'm correctly. That's song number 1. And that's actually what it does. It just dances, dances. Song 3. And then of course the final song. And we're just going to be continuing. If you're going to be pressing one of the other controls, it's going to be automatically getting out of the, let's say, the dancing mode. So the program mode they're talking about is actually this. So let's say if you're going to be pressing the program mode, I'm going to be doing left, right, up, up, left, right, and then play. It actually records what the inputs are. And if you're going to be pressing it to play again, it just actually does it again. Okay, if you want to get automatically shut off, it's actually just going to be pressing the button itself for moving. So that's actually how it is. And yeah, you know, it's a very easy overall control. The downside is because of the antenna, the old school technology, the overall reach is not great at all. So yeah, that's actually what it is when it comes to the overall controls, how the device works. But this is actually overall fun. So one of the things I think they made absolutely great, if you're looking at the tail, it's actually like loose, just piece of plastic. But that is kind of cool. If you're going to be moving around, the overall effect is pretty cool. I don't know if you can actually see it now. Let me move on the left and the right. So some minor adjustments over here with the hands, or the hands, let me hear hands, I mean the arms and the claws. And if you're going to be looking closely, you can see there's only one LED. It's kind of cheap, but yeah, okay, this is like a cheap product, but there's not like an LED behind every part. It's like in the middle somewhere. And then of course we're going to be having the touch over here. That's actually what it does. This doesn't even sound like a T-Rex, sounds more like a Cookie Monster. Nevertheless, the Dino Rex is an absolutely fun overall thingy. Nevertheless, it's very limited because it's a low budget version, but I know if you're going to be deep diving into this rabbit hole of RC, I know there will be some really cool ones out there. Let me know in the comments what do you think of a Dino, smart Dino thingy like this. Thank you all for watching, consider subscribing, hit the little bell, and it will be great to see you in the next video. Get to the chopper now!